That's new. Okay, good morning, everyone. Welcome to the May 25th meeting of the Finance Committee. I call this meeting to order. All members of the committee are present. I need a motion to approve the agenda.
Motion to approve agenda.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Next, I need a motion to approve the April 27th minutes.
So move.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. I need a motion to approve the May 4th minutes.
So move.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Thank you. 4-0. Next is the budget amendments and transfers. Mrs. McLam.
Yeah, so we've got, we're starting to wind down the year, so I'm trying to ensure that all of our budgets are appropriate. We are still getting amendments from the state for state funding. So the first one you will see is some changes in our state funds. We do get interest payments or interest on some of the technology fund that the state has, and a couple other miscellaneous accounts that the state doesn't necessarily issue budgets for, but we budget those funds because they're covered at whatever the expenditures are. On federal, you'll see just some adjustments that, again, we received. Remember, our federal grants are 27 months and their years run from October 1st to September 30th. So it's not unusual to see some amendments at this point in the year. Okay, sorry. Capital, the capital fund where we receive the architect fees for Forest Hills and East Elementary. After school, you will see there that I have gone ahead and budgeted some revenue for some of the anticipated loss in revenues that they're going to experience this year for running the program on such a short time frame.
How much do you think the total amount of the losses will be in the after-school program this year?
I've budgeted $600,000. I'm guessing that we'll probably be more in the $200,000 to $300,000 range, but I wanted to go ahead and anticipate what some of that might be.
Okay, and is it because of openings or because we just got started late in the year?
Well, so remember, we ran when we did not run that program beginning the school year.
Oh, that's right.
We
We
paid
paid
months of some salaries and other things.
some salaries. Okay. Okay. Thank you.
So since we've been back open, what does that look like? Like, let's say the last quarter, is it break even? Is it still bleeding?
Yeah, so
what is it?
Yeah, so it's looking okay now, but because of that time period at the beginning of the year with no revenues, they were working off of their fund balance. So right now, each month I'm budgeting what revenues they are bringing in and just trying to make sure we that their expenditures look like they're covering. They are going to be a little short, and on down in the agenda, we have some discussions about some after school as well, some of their fees and rates, but they look, with what is going on currently, it looks okay with the program actually running.
Great. Thank you.
And then you'll see some, just some general changes in our special revenue accounts. Most of that is EPIC funding, making sure that all those funds are accounted for. And then
is the vehicle purchases,
so with driver's ed, we charge a fee.
okay.
And so normally what we do with those fees is purchase vehicles. So anytime you see that come through, I just budget it there.
I didn't know if they were activity budgets or, okay. There was that. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. And then what about the workshop expense? We increased it by $500,000.
So that's all EPIC funds. What they've done a lot of this year is use the funding they have to do some virtual workshops since they couldn't send people. So I realized that we had not budgeted all of the EPIC funding. I started the year off with their carryover, but again, they're one of those that we were kind of in a lag. And so I'm realizing that there was some funds that we had not budgeted for.
Okay, and what about the contracted services going up a quarter by $750,000?
So same thing, they're contracting people to either do virtual, either workshops, or they're contracting for some coaching. There's a lot of different EPIC initiatives that they use contracts for.
Okay.
And we're running into the final year. This coming year will be the final year of our EPIC grant. So,
yeah. Okay.
And then there are some transfers. So CTE did some transfers of some months to purchase some equipment. We're hoping that all the equipment they purchased will come in. We're having some supply chain issues, but we'll work through that. And same with some of our federal dollars. We're working on any over-unders on budgets. And so that's what you'll see on that final page for federal.
Okay. If there's no additional questions, I'll take a motion to recommend the budget amendments and transfers to the full board at the June 1st meeting.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. That's 4-0. Next is the interim budget resolution for fiscal year 2022.
So every year I bring this to you all in June. This basically gives us authorization to operate when July 1st rolls around. And we've still not heard anything about a state budget. So we will probably do some planning budgets potentially to bring to you all at some point. But this is so that we can continue operating on July 1st.
Okay, great. Thank you. So I need a motion to recommend the resolution for interim appropriations for fiscal year 2022 to the full board.
So move.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 4-0. Thank you very much. Next is the after-school program rate increase.
So after school has done some analysis on the surrounding market and has submitted a request to increase their rates by $10 based on the category. As I mentioned before, they are operating, probably a little bit of a break even, but at that we can't charge them any indirect cost or any of the normal type items that we would use to fund with indirect costs. So they've requested, it's been since 2017 since they've had a rate increase. Now, Mr. Strickland and Dr. Clark are here if you all have any questions about any of it, but just wanted to request that we do that because it helps us stay competitive as well.
Right. I appreciate showing rates of the private companies that we compete against. So, and for the most part, we're still lower than them, except for a couple. So that was nice. So it's a $10 per week increase for both employees and non-employees, correct? Okay. Yeah, I'm good with it. Anyone else?
Mark, what would you say the breakdown is employee versus non-employee in our after school?
Wow, I'd have to throw that one
Approximately.
to Rachel. Rachel, do you have the numbers in terms of employees versus non-employees?
Just rough numbers,
Yeah,
percentage.
just,
You know,
or even, I have no idea. How many kids are in our program on a given year?
So right now we have probably about 550 children in the program. And that is a drop from last year where we had, if I recall, about 17 or 1800. And that is due to the late start this year. And, people had found, other solutions that worked for them with regards to care. Right now we're looking at next year. As of 3 weeks ago, we were sitting around 950 students. So, we're definitely on the upswing again. In terms of number of employees that have their children in care, I don't have those numbers in front of me, but I think the best guesstimate that I would offer would be between 20 and 25% of our children.
Our employees, so, okay.
Yes.
55, none. Okay.
This,
And how many schools are we offering after school at?
Currently, we had closed down several sites this year because of the low enrollment. If you give me a second, I could give you the exact number. We are having the program offered at 19 sites right now, and we're hoping that this coming year we can reopen the 6 sites that we closed.
So you're looking for all the sites to be open next year?
That is our goal, as long as
Okay.
we have the enrollment to
Right.
support it.
Okay. Are you having any trouble getting employees back or anything like?
Getting employees back, Ms. Heintel, no. I mean, we had a good number, leave, but, I'm proud of the fact that we were able to retain, a great number of our staff. The issue is now needing new staff to come in and take these spots. It's very difficult right now to find
It is.
candidates who are interested, just like everywhere right now.
Everywhere, right? Yep. Okay, thank you.
this increase seems minimal, but though, what Dr. Clark, Strickland, what impact do you think it may have on folks once they hear it?
So I have talked personally to many parents, albeit employees, and they understand. Everybody else has gone up over the years, and it's been since 17, 18 since we went up. So we're still market competitive and lower. So it's still a good deal.
Thank you.
And I see a lot of our competitors, the private institutions, they offer discounts for siblings. We do not. It's just the standard rate per student.
No, we do offer a discount per sibling. I don't have my hands on that right now. For
Okay,
the
that's fine. As long as we
for-
offer, it looks like we're competitive with others. So.
Yes, for the regular non-employee parents, we do offer a $5 discount for each sibling.
Okay, thank you.
Anything else?
One more. What are the qualifications of our after school care staff? Do we have any?
so-
How are they vetted when we bring them in?
Well, first, of course, they go through the Union County Public Schools application process. But we're also looking for people with education with regards to early child care. The coordinator role, they have to have completed certain coursework with regards to the early childhood or elementary education program. Most of that is done through South Piedmont or Central Piedmont.
And we have a coordinator at every site?
Yes.
And that's how we maintain our 5-star as well, correct?
Okay.
Dr. Clark, how do you feel about it? How do you feel about all of this? How is the morale within your unit?
I will say, of course, with every aspect of the school system, it's definitely been a strange year for us. It was a great boost to the morale for us all to come back to work in January. And we're all very excited about the possibilities of us actually somewhat being back to normal in August. And I think that's just what we're waiting for. The morale is pretty good, but we're all just eager to just get back to the way things were, have big groups of kids, and just, enjoy them again.
Thank you so much.
There's no more additional questions. I would take a motion to recommend the after school program rate increase to the full board on June 1st.
So move.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 That's 4-0. Thank you very much. Next is for information is the COVID relief funding update. So I have a question. What are we doing with the remaining $3.5 million from the first ESSER? And that has to be spent by a year's from now, so we're still using it.
Correct. So we're currently paying out on a contract for the nurses, and we anticipate using some of these dollars to help support the summer program. So as you see some of these things that are listed on this document, they really detail out how we originally submitted our budgets. Once we are our plans, when we submit them to DPI, are broad enough to where we can make adjustments, because we're talking about 3 and 4 years down the road. How will we need these dollars? Even when school starts next year, might change a bit. So it allows us to make some adjustments in the budgets, but we will spend those dollars as much as possible on some of the summer programming, so that we can spend
Great.
the newest or oldest dollars first, so it will roll forward. They've requested that we spend the oldest dollars first.
Okay, so we have $11 million on ESSER 2 for the summer program. So
Yes.
you're saying originally the estimate was 9 to 9.5 million. Now we're up to 11 million in ESSER 2, and you're saying we're going to take some of the money out of ESSER 1 as well?
Right. So I will bring back amended as we run estimates, but as dollars start coming in, we've allocated some things for credit recovery. We've allocated some of the ESSER 1 dollars for some of those extra expenses. So as we continue building the summer program, again, all those are estimates when you start adding in any of the benefits and other things that go with that, which really with the summer program are very minimal.
Okay, so are we going to continue with contracted staff, especially nurses, next year?
Yes. So
Okay,
we did, we committed.
Heard that. Okay.
Well, they wanted to know from us, were we, how long were we committed to these 10 or 11 contracted nurses, just so that they would know their staffing levels and what they needed to plan for. So yes, we will continue to maintain that nurse staff through a contract.
And where is that in the ESSERs? 1, 2, where we get?
That's in that. Okay, so right now it starts with ESSER 1 is where our original contract is. There's some built into ESSER 2 and 3. And that's under the mental health or the health and contracted health and mental health services and health support services.
Okay. Okay. Other question. So on ESSER 3, and I know these are just planning allotments, there's $21 million or $20 million for summer learning. And I know that ESSER 3 goes through September of 24.
Yes.
We can move money within these allotments. Yes, right?
Yes, correct.
Okay. Is the state no longer paying for summer camps like Read to Achieve and things like that? Or are we still getting Read to Achieve money?
We are still getting Read to Achieve, so there will be some of that built in as well. But initial planning, when we were submitting some of this, trying to build all this together, we did those allocations based on our anticipated expenses.
Okay.
And it could change. We may not have any summer program. I don't know what next year or the year after that might look like and what kind of funding the state might provide. But
okay. I mean, I'm happy that the nurses are going to be with us for another year, but I just didn't know that we already extended the contract.
Well, we've had some discussions about that internally, just making sure that we have the dollars to do that.
So what's the cost of that over the year?
Because we have pieced them together. Right now, original contract amounts, I want to say we're like 500,000 or more. I'm afraid I'm going to underestimate. So the original contracts, it was about $65,000 per school, per nurse.
Let's say
So
about
600, so about 650 or so.
for the full school year.
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay. Resources for SR2 resources to support learning loss and interventions, $4.7 million. Do we know what those resources are yet?
Not yet. I know the academics team is working on some
Okay.
resources that they could provide out to schools for options. I'm building some of that in. We also do have the option to do some distribution to the schools so they can make some of those decisions, you know, at the school level based on their need. The difficult part with a lot of these funds is schools are so used to having so much flexibility with their local dollars that federal dollars have so many more requirements on procurement that we're trying to do as much at a higher level so that we have all the documentation, we've done all the quotes, we've done all the bids as necessary for the documentation that's going to be required during the audits.
Okay, so maybe next Finance Committee, Dr. Julian can give us some information around this funding and what his thoughts are with respect to ESSER 2 and 3, just so we have some idea of what it's going to be used for.
Yeah, because this document, and I know we've talked a little bit about this document is hard to maintain the way it's currently written, and I'm looking at some different ways to provide you all with this information so that I'm not duplicating efforts. So I think that this document, at some point, we will get to the point where we're updating some of the language on it, but maybe the numbers I can provide to you some way that I'm afraid I'm going to make a mistake on some of these calculations or the way some of these numbers are detailed out.
Okay. Does anyone else have any questions on this? Okay.
Why is that? Why would you feel you would make error?
It took me
And
about,
I'm only asking because I've come to know you as pretty dotting the I's and crossing the T's. So where is the fear and maybe a miscalculation here and there, and what can we do to erase that fear so you'll be confident when you make such presentation?
so this document took me about 3 or 4 hours to put together yesterday. So once I get it built, I think updating it on a regular basis won't be so difficult. But in Word, like, these aren't being calculated. I'm pulling this calculation from our general ledger and then putting it in this document. I'm also at the point where we're in June and now we're crossing fiscal years. So when it comes to next year, I'm going to have to come up with a way to amend. Some of these dollars we'll be spending in the current year, but as these years go on, keeping almost like a life to date on this when you cross fiscal years. Now, our new system will allow us to have life to date figures.
Yes.
But right now I'm going to be piecing them together until we get that new system in place. So it's more about, as the years roll on, all these numbers are it's going to get more difficult to keep together.
I understand, but one of the big things that the county asks us for is how we're spending our federal funding from
Yes.
COVID. And, it's been great to show them a document that's on board docs, that's transparent, that shows exactly what we're doing. So I would like to keep doing that in some way that we could understand where the dollars are being sent.
I agree. And DPI, knowing that these are multi-year funds, they have started building some documents on their page as well to give some of that information either by object codes or purpose codes or program codes. So, is it the ESSER 2? Is it PRC 163? Like, is it on salaries? Is it contracts? So
Right.
as they start enhancing some of those tools and providing some of those details, I want to try to transition some of that as well and share that with you and the public so that people know where to go and find that information.
I just think it's important to both boards, both the Board of Education and the Board of County Commissioners, to see the transparency about the federal COVID funds that we get. That's all.
Yes.
And I think we have been hugely, and I would hate to stop it, I guess is what I'm saying.
Oh, no, I'm not, I just want to come up with something. I don't want to,
Okay. Anything else? Okay, our next meeting is scheduled for June 22nd in person. So I need to understand, are we going to do 8 a.m. or 9 a.m.? What is good with the committee?
But it's
Like
been
eight.
9. Why did it change today?
Some people had a meeting at 9, so we moved it to 8.
Okay,
I'm
our
trying,
9 has been fine.
I
Joe,
would
and
prefer 8.
Yeah,
You're
I
what?
would prefer 8. The earlier the better.
I can go with that, no problem.
okay,
Now that I know.
Shauna loves 8, I can tell.
sorry, Sean. Okay, so we'll go with June 22nd at 8 a.m. Thank you very much,
person.
everybody. Oh, I need a motion to adjourn.
So move.
Second.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.